or have a second death. So they're saying that means they're going to cease to exist. They're not going to live on in another place like hell. But there are also some passages that imply continuing existence. And number 3, eternal torment. What they're saying is it doesn't make sense. Why would you need to torment somebody eternally? It doesn't serve any purpose. It doesn't restore the person. It just, they just continue on. Again, it's the same argument as universalism. Existence of both heaven and hell doesn't make sense if God is the final victory. Why is there another pocket that's left? And then they have Bible passages that deal with destruction, total destruction of the wicked. Fret not yourself because of evildoers, be not envious of wrongdoers, for they will soon fade like the grass and wither like the green herb. For the evildoers shall be cut off, but those who wait for the Lord shall inherit the land. And then later it says, the wicked will be no more, though you look carefully at his place, he will not be there. So it implies he will be wiped out. That's what they're thinking for that. And even in Malachi, the day is coming, burning like an oven, so it's fire, when all the arrogant and evildoers will be stubble. The day is coming that shall set them ablaze, so that it will leave them neither root nor branch. They're totally gone. So you can see the picture. It's mostly about destruction. Matthew 3:10. Even now the axe is laid to the root of the trees. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Winnowing fork in his hand, and he will clear his threshing floor and gather his wheat into the barn, but the chaff he will burn with unquenchable fire. So I'm just giving all these images of fire and destruction. Same as these passages. It will be, the weeds and the harvest, they'll be burned. So anyway, so you get the picture. I'm just throwing in a lot of passages. But what are the issues there? What's the problem with that? Number 1, eternal punishment serves the purpose of vindicating God's justice. So it's God's final no to everything that opposes God. So it's a vindication, the fact that it's eternal. It's how you can see how final it is with an eternal type of punishment. Because if you just cease to exist, you're not really punished. You're just done. But eternal punishment is more of it's continuing. In a way, it's a certain logic, right, in terms of applying what punishment is about. Also, the term eternal in the Bible, we have to give it a new meaning if we use this logic. If eternal means you're just going to end, then that's strange, because the Bible uses eternal a lot. So some scholars would say eternal means cannot be reversed, or it's not time. But the problem with that is eternal usually means long-lasting. It doesn't mean it's over, right? If you just make a sense of the word, because the Bible uses the word eternal, it's all about time. It doesn't mean out of time. So that's the problem for that view. Also, then you have the problem of Satan. In the Bible, it says that what they believe in, this specific belief, is that Satan and the wicked will have the same end. So what they're saying is God is just going to forget about Satan instead of punishing Satan. So for some people that doesn't make sense. Number 4, is passing out of existence really an answer to our choices in life? So does that mean, was there a real consequence? If you live a life where you're a certain way and you're not going to get punished, you're just going to be done. And number 5, ceasing of existence is as final a state as hell. it's like where's the justice in that? Like, let's say, some people will say, I'm just going to give an example of Hitler. So he just ended his life and that's it. So he got away free, no judgment, no punishment. So is that just? Is that compassionate? So I'm just throwing out the cons about this belief. Anything else that you can think of, or is this kind of interesting? Okay, you're tracking.
Got a quick question.
All right.
So I think like in the beginning, I guess God exists. Nobody made God, but how about Satan? Was he like that too, existing?
Okay. I'm assuming Satan's created.
Yes.
Yeah. Because only God existed from the beginning. So everything else is creation.
But he lives forever, right? It's Satan.
Eternal punishment.
Eternal.
That's the case.
Yeah.
So now let's go to hell.
So I have a question with Satan. If Satan is going to have eternal punishment, so the story of Job, the one that was by Satan, God allows him to be, we'd say like have everything, all the illnesses and very bad-hearted. And was God who allowed Satan to prove help Job?
Oh, okay. All right.
The story.
It goes into something similar to something you said last week. Because Satan is not yet in final judgment. He hasn't been banished into the lake of fire. So Satan is still around, although he's been defeated. His power is broken because of what Christ did. But Satan can still. I like how other people compare it. It's like D-Day. Have you heard of D-Day? The Allies landed on the beach, and that's the point where people say World War II is won, in a way, because the forces are now on the beach. But the Germans are on retreat, and they're still making damage in whatever countryside they're at.
It's like he's doing whatever damage he can before he loses.
Although he knows he's done.
Yeah.
So Satan can still do things, but.
Is there not a passage where Satan and the Lord they're talking about hope?
Yeah, it's in because Job was trying to challenge God, like, no one is blameless or righteous, and God was saying, look at this guy. So in one sense you can say that God allows Satan to operate in one sense, still. But in another sense, you can say, everything God does is in His sovereign will, like it's within His control. Yeah.
Just wonder, you said you guessed that God created sin, right? Because everything is created by God. By that, do you mean that He created sin, or you mean the sin himself?
Sin himself, because he was an angel,
Right.
He was a
Yeah, but sin might come from sin himself. Are you saying that sin?
Oh, I'm saying, sin didn't come from God. It came from
sin, right? Okay, yeah. That's what I wondered. Because it was Lucifer, right?
Or if they gave him a name, it's that. Although I'm not sure the name is in the Bible. I think some of the early church may name Satan. Okay, yeah, it's very good questions, and it's kind of like, Satan, the devil, they're still operating, but why is God still in this? So people ask these questions, but we're in a way a transition period. We're like in between D-Day and final victory. So things happen within that. Not that God is not in control, but in a way God gives us the freedom to act how we act. So, because God doesn't want to be loved by giving them no choice, God allows us to come to Him in a way as part of our choice. Although at the same time, God is drawing people to Himself as well. So it sounds like I'm talking two sides of the same thing, but that's sort of how things are. Unfortunately, it's harder to explain. And depending on the tradition you're coming from, one was going to emphasize sovereignty if you're Reformed, and the other is going to emphasize free will, like Baptist or something. Like it's up to our will. Reformed would go, oh no, the Spirit draws us. So anyway, so those are just two sides speaking of somewhat the same action, or it looks the same way. So anyway, any other questions?
Quick question. Is that quote from the Bible? Is that from the parable of talents that thrown into the fiery furnace in that place where we'd be gnashing of teeth?
It's possible. Did you look that up?
I think it was like, because I remember like towards the end in that section, we always talk about the weeping, gnashing of teeth, but then the game before, like, I think the guy with 5 talent has 5, he got 5 things done.
Yeah, and then they didn't, the
And
last
the other guy
person
didn't do
didn't.
anything, so he's,
So he ended up being judged in that sense. So that's what the Christian church has always believed.